Hello everyone, welcome to Melissa's Musing. It is Melissa Steele here with my fabulous new pink nails. Check this out. They're a little bit more plain than usual. You guys know I like wild patterns and things, but I just could not pass up this hot pink and then doing the matte, so I'm really feeling it. As you guys trickle on in to watch, we can have fun with my nails. So, as you all know, Melissa Steele here, real estate agent extraordinaire in San Diego and across the country, can help you guys wherever you are. But today's message is an interesting one, and it's about disconnecting, zoning out, tuning out, being numb to the things happening around us. And this past week, I had like this crazy realization. Okay, sorry guys. Trying to reconnect. I'm on like really fantastic Wi-Fi here at my house. So I'm like, what's happening? Okay, so we're gonna dive right in. Hopefully that won't happen again. So I had this really interesting realization this past week, because those of us who numb out, who disconnect ourselves from what's happening around us, have certain patterns with that, right? I've seen it myself in college by indulging in alcohol and things like that. I've seen it in my workaholicness. There is one way that Melissa disconnects, and it's by working nonstop. And so I noticed these patterns, and as I was going through the leadership program last year, started to notice patterns that I've had throughout my life where I've really just disconnected, not been present to what was happening around me, all of these things. And I had this realization this past week that something that happened as a child that I would do very often and obsessively, I think, was in total correlation with the fact that I was tuning out everything that was happening around me. And so I'll give you guys like a 10-year-old Melissa scenario. So when I was young, I loved to read. Loved it. When I was young, my parents often argued a lot. Sorry, Mom, if you're watching, this is true. This was what my experience was of the relationship. My experience of my parents' relationship was that it was tumultuous. My experience was that they often argued. My experience was that often it was difficult to be in that environment. And I often felt like I wanted to protect my brother and sister from that. So I would constantly be in the practice of, let's do this, let's do that, let's stay in my room, let's all hang out in my closet. And I had this, it came back to me. I had forgotten for years, 20 plus years, that I used to read in my closet, because the buffer of my closet door plus my bedroom door would drown out the arguing. And I would be on another, sorry, everything is happening with my phone. I would be on a different planet in a totally different world in my book. I was not in my house. I was not listening to any arguing. I wasn't in my closet. I was on another planet. I was in Narnia reading my books. And every single summer I would get kicked out of reading programs. I remember the first year I got kicked out of a reading program was for the Oradell Public Library summer reading program. And I read over 500 books in that summer. And they had this like, this is a great story, so I'm going to tell it. At the end of the summer, I was so proud of myself. I had literally read almost every book in the library, to the point where the children's department used to keep the new books that they'd get in, you know, like they would go shopping once a week and purchase like 10 new books, and they would sit on the side of the librarian counter until I arrived at the library. And I would always get the first pass at the books to read, because like they had run out of inventory for me to read. So long story short, 500 books in one summer. Get to the tricky tray. So the activity and what the award was all these prizes, and you could put, for each book that you read, you earned a little ticket, and you could put your ticket in and potentially be drawn and win the prize. It was like a tricky tray. And my tickets, having had like 500 of them, me and my sister and my brother, we wiped that freaking contest. Like, my mom was legitimately embarrassed to be leaving with the three of us children, because we had like an entire carload. And I, being an entrepreneur and like a bit shiesty myself, I would see like these baby toys and stuff that like was totally out of my age group with like 2 tickets in it, and I'd be like, ooh, the odds are good, and I'd stick one of my tickets in it. So I was winning like baby toys, adult things. Like I won like 100 prizes, and like every other student in the reading contest like combined won like 20. So anyways, I got banned from the summer reading program there, the following summer from the Paramus reading program, the following summer from the Long Island reading program. They were like, sorry sister, you can't participate. Here's your gift card, because we already know you're gonna win. And so that was my life growing up. I read and I read and I read, and I was constantly in a different world, Granted, thankfully, it was a pretty decent activity. I could have easily been like on the streets or like doing drugs or something much more not as beneficial to my life, but I was constantly reading. And what I realized this week when I had that flashback back to being like an 8-year-old girl sitting in my closet, having the buffer of the 2 doors between me and my parents, I was like, holy shit, I read through my entire childhood to disconnect from the fact of what was going on in my house. Major breakthroughs. And then I was able to link that origination of obsessive reading, because like, let's get real, what child reads 500 books in a summer? Like, I'm talking obsessive reading here. I did enjoy it, but at a certain extent it was obsessive, and I was disconnecting and I was numbing myself out. And I realized that when I stopped reading so dramatically and obsessively, I transitioned directly into workaholicism, if that's a word, my workaholic nature. Because at age 10, I started my first company. At age 14, I had my working papers. By age 14, I was working 40 plus hours a week and loving every second of it. Because again, it didn't allow me to pay attention to anything else happening in my world except for my work, because I had so much of it on my plate. I was, obviously a student still and crushing the work aspect, and I was able to really easily numb out. When I transitioned into high school and college, I got really indulgent and some alternate substances and alcohol and really numbed myself out that way. My patterns in college were not great. I was one of those people that would drink a bottle of vodka as a pregame and be like, woo, I'm ready. And I would drink that way 4 or 5 nights a week. I don't know how this little body did it. It's a feat, for sure. And, after college, transitioning back into work and just working obsessively, uncontrollably. In my last position, I found myself working myself quite literally into a sickness where I experienced such intense pain and, gut disastery from the fact that I just stretched myself so thin in my last position. I was easily working 70, 80 hours a week while not feeling fulfilled in that position. So, long story short, us as human beings, we numb ourselves out to the pain going on around us. If we are not 100% happy and authentically living our truest, most beautiful lives and selves, guess what? We're going to numb out the pain that's coming from not doing that to ourselves and not prioritizing ourselves and not being worthy for whatever it is that we want in this world. So as I was back in 8-year-old Melissa mind, in that closet, as all of this is like exploding in my mind, I was like, holy crap. For as long as I can remember, literally as long as I can remember, I have always been disconnecting. I have always been checking out. I have always been numbing out what's been going on around me because I haven't been true to authentically what I've wanted, until quite recently, of course. But yeah, I just found it to be such an eye-opening realization, and from something as beneficial and, looked upon as being good as reading, I realized how obsessive and detrimental my lifestyle of reading had been to me as a child. Granted, I had indulged in something that was really, in the grand scheme of things, beneficial, but the amount of time that I invested in it and the amount of disconnection that I was doing is what was doing a disservice to myself. So I just want you guys to, I encourage you to look at your past, look at yourself currently. If you're not 100% happy, what are you doing right now that's allowing yourself to numb it out? We all have vices. We all have things that we rely on to kind of like boost our happiness or feel a little bit better about ourselves. And those things are not bad, but happiness is a choice and it comes from within. So if we are doing a really fantastic job of tuning out the fact that we're unhappy, or tuning out the fact that we're deserving of being happy, or whatever it looks like for us on an individual basis, then we get to shift that, my friends, and we get to talk about it. So I love you. Hope you enjoyed this little indulgent Melissa's musings. I love you guys. Talk to you soon.